Welcome to Dave's Woodworking Shop. I am about to start on the largest project that I've ever done to date, which is a king-size bed. It involves the headboard and the footboard, and it's going to be completely made out of cedar. My parents had a cedar tree, and the city came by and they shaved it up one side because it was getting too close to the power lines. And being here in Florida, the city they don't even ask for permission or anything. They just come through, they shave all the trees back because of hurricane season, so on and so forth. And so they had a half-naked cedar tree, and so they had it cut down. I asked if I could have the trunk, and so I got it. I hauled it to the sawmill. They sliced and diced it up for me at 5/4, and it's pretty beautiful stuff. I'm looking around for, here's a sample of it. Pretty beautiful stuff. And so there's that. And so what we're going to do is, this is going to be in a multi-part, I think, video. This is going to be the first of many videos, but how many videos, I don't know. So what we're going to do is the next video that'll start right after this is the dowels. And then after that, we'll get into some of the wood, and we'll just go from there and see how it goes. So keep watching, and thank you for watching. But keep watching. Remember your eyes, your ears, your lungs, and that's going to be about it. So let's move on to the dowels, okay? So here it comes. The headboard is going to be 75 3/4 by 54 inches tall. The footboard is going to be 32 inches by 75 3/4 inches wide. It got side rails. I got all the wood. There's the list of all the wood that came out of that tree. So we got that. This has been planed down to 1 inch wide because the whole thing is going to be an inch thick. All the wood is. It's going to be a big, sturdy, solid headboard and footboard and bed, and it's going to be absolutely nice. So this is going to be the first of many videos. One of the things I had to do was the rule of thumb when you're doing putting joints together, is the 1/3 rule. I see it everywhere. So Rockler makes these here dowel joints, but they make it to where I'm using an inch thick, and they want me to use a 1/2 inch thick dowel, which I think is too big because it goes against the 1/3 rule. So I bought a 3/8, and I went and spent 40 cents because there's two of them, nylon spacers, and put those in there. And now this is perfectly centered on a 1 inch board, and so that's why you see those holes there. Those are tests to make sure it's running center down, and it's running absolutely center. It's gonna be nice. And when you buy that, it comes with a drill bit and a stop collar. And so, and back to the headboard. That's what it's going to look like. And then there's the circle part in the center. That's going to be inlay. I always like to do, when I do something, I like to inlay it. I bought all these oak dowels. I'm going to cut them down to 2 inches a piece. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. So we'll see. If not, I'll just go buy more. And these are 3/8 inch oak dowels for the dowel joint, because what I plan on doing is not only am I going to put dowels in this to hold it together, I'm going to use the Craig pocket screws also, and glue. So it's going to be doweled, screwed, and glued. I don't want this thing to ever come apart. I will leave spaces where it's not glued, so that way it'll have a place to flex and be able to expand and contract with the winter and summer, but I don't anticipate too much of that. It's going to be inside at all times. So, first thing I got to do is, I've already got my saw set up, and we're going to go ahead and cut these down to 2 inches a piece, and we'll get started on that, okay? Alright, we've got all these pegs here. They're 3/8 inch dowels, cut down to 2 inches long, and we got to round them off, kind of like this. Kind of hard to see. There you go. Round it off. That way it makes it easier to insert into the hole. So here's how I do this, is that I take it, put it in my drill, just like so. Turn on my sander, and then I use this to spin it and to twist it. We just keep going until the bin is empty. Okay? Well, I won't bore you with all this. Okay, we've cut the dowels, and we've gone over here to the sander, and we've taken them and we cut them down to we rounded the edges off. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a 180 grit sandpaper, and we put it in a drill and do some fine sanding, refining sanding I should say, not fine sanding, because fine sanding would be like 200, 300 grit sandpaper, but anywho, and then as simple as this. Just like that. Take it, flip it over. Do the same thing. And just like that, you've got, it's sanded, and there you go. It's sanded, and then we take it, put it in there. Now, only 143 more to go, because I have 144 and may need more. We don't know. We'll find out. And here we go. 142 to go. So there you go. That's what you got to do. And tune in to see what happens next. I got a bunch of these to do. All right? So keep watching and see what happens. Okay, we've got them all done now. All right? Now, what we're going to do is move these out of the way. This is a jig that I threw together with scrap. Okay, you can see. All right, now these dowels are they're 2 inches long, and I got to mark them at 1 inch intervals on each one. And here's how we're going to do that. I made this jig. There it is again. All right, there's the pencil mark and everything. And what you do is, like I said, it's just made out of scraps. You stick it in here, and you put your pencil in there. You mark it. Oops, there we go. And you roll it with your thumb, just like that. Get out of here, mosquito. And now you can see there's a line there. And what that tells me is that when I go to insert this, because what I did is I'm going to drill my holes just a little, about 1/4 of an inch, anywhere between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch deeper than what is needed. So that way, when I put glue in to each of these holes, I can put this in, hammer it down to the line, and then that way it'll have a place, a pocket for the glue to flow to, instead of becoming compact. And then that way, in case I put too much glue in each hole, and these are a little bit of a tight fit because it's a 3/8 dowel with a 3/8 hole, so it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. And then that way I just hammer it down and down to the line. I know that's halfway in, and then that way I know once the glue is dry on one side and I put the two pieces together, I know I'll be okay. And like I said, just a hair bit deeper. One down, 143 to go. Okay? Well, I won't bore you with all the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, okay, we got them all done. And I've got my stop. This is my Rockler. This is for, Rockler makes these jigs here. And I don't know if I touched base on this earlier or not on a previous part of this video, but I'm going to touch base again. This is for 3/8 inch dowel. I went to Ace Hardware and I bought these nylon spacers. You can see they're white, and that way when I go to clamp it onto a 1 inch board, those holes are perfectly centered, as you can see on the lines on there. Can you see the lines? Yeah, there they are. And that one there in the center, it's kind of hard to see. It's got a couple of lines, and it's actually the outside of each line. So just to double check to make sure everything is lining up. So I've got my center hole jig ready. I've got 144 dowels ready. The headboard will take dowels, and they will take pocket screws and glue. So that's going to be good. But my footboard for the bed is not going to have pocket hole screws, because for the simple fact you have to see both sides of the footboard, because when you're laying in bed you don't want to see all the pocket hole screws, and I don't want to go through and cut these into dowel fillers or pocket hole fillers, and then I'll just use these with glue and glue it up real good, and pray that it all holds together after 30 years or so. Who knows? But keep watching. We got a long ways to go on this. This is already day 5 of the build, and I don't even see the end in sight. So I had to do some computer work in order to get my list going. Okay, so those are done, computer work is done, and we'll have to see. All right, keep watching.